Grace and peace, friends and family. Welcome to another conversation. This is Joy, Pink Girl Teaches, and I hope that you are all doing well. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope that you are having a fantastic day. It's my sincere hope that you are fearlessly pursuing your most significant state and that you are continuing to come from behind. Before I get too deep into today's conversation, I want to say that I titled this conversation, Your Defiance Crushes the Narcissist. Not because I want you to go out and try to crush them, no, but I want to bring some things into perspective. A lot of times you're told that, or we hear that, narcissists are so much more powerful than you, and they sought you out because they believe that you're weak and they're there to dominate you. And it's almost like you're just this rag doll in their show. They want you for nothing more than supply, and you are just there to please them. And a lot of that is nothing more than a fallacy. And I want to dispel that. And we have to set things back into perspective. And you may wonder, why do these things happen to me when I try to pull away from the narcissist and they do all these different things? Because you're taking a stand for yourself and you're being defiant. And that's something that they do not like. They don't like that. That's a show of your strength. Listen, anytime you come up against a narcissist, you are standing up for yourself. You are doing something that people say you can't do, or, narcissists would say you can't do that because you're being disobedient. And in a narcissist world, disobedience is always punished. Because remember, they stand for power and control over you. So I really just want to set things in perspective and not promote going out and crushing their feelings or, technically crushing them. No, that's what this is not about, because that does not make you any different from them or their behaviors. We want to continue to evolve and become our most significant, or become the most significant version of ourselves. Wow, tongue-tied, but you get what I'm saying. This journey is for us to transcend into everything God already knows that we are, and we can't be like them, because that would be working against what God spoke over our lives. So I want to just shed some light, and I decided to share this conversation with you because it seems like, wow, the enemy is angry and he has been trying it. Like, how are things going on in your life? Because the last few days, and especially the last 24 hours, so I want to expose him. Yeah, I want to expose him, because anything that is exposed is weak. The enemy, as in the enemy, he tried it. But then not only that, people have just been doing the most. And I've noticed some patterns, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I want to talk about it from both angles. One thing with narcissists, whenever you stand up for yourself, or whenever you become defiant, right? Let's say you've been discarded, or even if you discarded them, whichever happens, doesn't really matter, but a discard has taken place, right? And you decide, listen, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to go no contact, and I'm going to enforce these boundaries. And I don't care what happens. Essentially, what that signals to them is failure. Even if you discarded them, narcissists, they still have signals within themselves. Or if they discarded you, it doesn't matter. They still have signals within themselves that, listen, I'm going to hover, I'm going to spy, I'm going to stalk, I'm going to send flying monkeys to gather information. I'm going to see what's going on with my supply. They belong to me, because as far as the narcissist is concerned, you are an extension of them. You are a tool that they should have access to at any point, whether you're in constant communication or not. They always will watch you. They always will hover. That's just kind of one of those things that they do. And you're not always aware of it, but these are the patterns that they follow. That's why we have things like monitoring spirits. Well, not we, but that's why these things exist. Monitoring spirits, familiar spirits, territorial spirits, always watching to see what is going on in regions, what is going on in what we would say the enemy's territory or the enemy's kingdom. Remember, the enemy is the prince of the air. And so he's trying to figure out what is going on. So likewise, they are always going to be watching. So when you become defiant and say, I don't even care, I'm going to level up and I'm going to do everything that I can do to never look backwards, it says something to them. It says that I failed. And anytime when you think about a narcissist, right, they have splitting, black or white thinking, they lack object constancy. It's either you are all good or all bad. So when you do that, they're seeing you as, oh, you're stronger than me because you won't talk to me. There's nothing that I can do to pull you back in. You've done something that a lot of other supply have not been able to do. You think about that narcissistic harem. How many of their exes do they continue to talk about or continue to engage with? How many? How many people, how many souls do they keep in their bank that they continue to interact with? But here you are saying, not me. You can't have my time. You can't have my attention. I'm not going to feed into you anymore. I'm cutting off this umbilical cord. No. And it says to them, wow, I'm weak. I failed. They're looking at you as being disobedient, but what it signals to them is that I failed to maintain control over this person. Think about it. Now think about it in the realm of the spirit. Anytime an entity does not or loses control of something that was assigned to them, of a person that was assigned to, what do you think the enemy is doing? Do you really think they are walking away easily? That they are not going to be harassed? Why do you think they go into a down spiral? Let's just think about that. Why do you think they go into a down spiral? You ever notice that sometimes when you stand your guard, when you say, I don't care what you do, they do the most. They start suddenly finding ways to gaslight you, creating 1 billion different accounts all at the same time. Then you find yourself being gang stalked. And should you give into one of their baits, suddenly they're overly emotional, crying and making you like you're the one with the problem. They're trying to drag you into reactionary abuse or trying to make you the victim. It's like they throw 1,000 different things at you to throw you off. Why? They're desperate because they've got to reverse the roles. They've got to throw you off course. They've got to get you back into the funk so that they can get the upper hand. No. They do everything because they're having a meltdown and they need desperately to restore balance, because while you maintain the upper hand, they're losing. They don't see themselves as who they always thought that they are. So what happens a lot of the times, what you may not see, and depending on the type of narcissist that they are, those that are in constant communication with them, those that are at home with them, they have to deal with the raging fool. Because essentially your defiance is a narcissistic injury. So those at home, they've got to deal with this person that's raging. They've got to deal with the anger. They've got to deal with the bitterness. They got to deal with all of that. Think about it. That new supply, that's who's being punished for your disobedience. Maybe you were being punished for somebody else's disobedience. Sometimes, and you know what happens also, should I say, is that when they've lost that power and control over you and they're desperate to try and restore balance in their lives because it's an injury, they go and seek new sources of supply. So they're adding to it because they need an ego boost. And so they'll seek an alternate source of supply. But sometimes it's not the same as you. And that's why you'll see them try to come back to you with a tender touch, with a, and I say touch, but not like a physical touch, but with a different approach, because they want to show you that, listen, I'm really Mr. Nice. I'm really that sweet woman that you always thought I was. No, that's not the truth. They are who they showed you. And when they start having these meltdowns and they start transforming into different beings and showing you different sides, like just a chameleon, remember, the enemy is an angel of light. He will always transfigure. He will always, not transfigure, but always change to be something different so that you are thrown off. I came to remind you today, I came to encourage you actually, that don't give up. Don't give in. I don't know if you're experiencing any of this craziness, but stand strong. In Ephesians 6, one of the things that it tells us, Ephesians 6 and 10, it starts off by telling us, give me just a moment, I lost the page. I thought I had it saved. But it starts off by telling us, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. It says, be strong in the Lord. That means we can't depend on our strength, because this battle is real and it's not easy. And it's okay sometimes that you may feel weak, because it's in our weakness that we are strengthened in our weakness by him. And it's okay to say that I'm weak, but you don't lay in your weakness. This is, I always, whenever I'm talking to you, I like to say, don't placate your feelings and emotions. And essentially what I'm saying is that don't become invisible to yourself. It's okay to say where you are. But what I'm saying is, like, now, if you feel like, okay, this is overwhelming, God, but I thank you that I can come into your presence because there is fullness of joy. I thank you that I can come into your presence because this is where my strength is. I thank you that in your presence I am strengthened and I can just rest in you and you fight my battles. This is how you confound the enemy. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. This is his battle. Sometimes all you have to do is call on his name. The name of Jesus is the name that is above all names. And sometimes you may feel like, I don't even know what to do in this situation. Just call on the name. Just call on the name, because when you call on that name, the name that is above all names, according to the word of God, things on the earth and underneath the earth need to bow down. So you call on it, and your circumstances, situations, and everything that is presenting itself, harassing you, will bow down. That is your power. That is your strength. That is one of your weapons. And all you have to do is believe in what you are doing and in what you are saying. But I really today just wanted to encourage you, because I had to call on the name. Yeah, that thing has been trying it, y'all. But I just wanted to encourage you, because I know that, it is a bit of a testing time for many of us in the body. But we're not going to give up. That's not what we were created for. And that's not in our DNA. So I just wanted to encourage you, brothers and sisters, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. I want to thank you so much for your time. Please continue to seek the face of the Lord and trust in him. He loves you more than you know. And his plan his plans for you are good. So trust in him, seek his face. I'm praying for you, and I love you so much. God bless you, and continue to come from behind. Have a fantastic day.